Good evening, sir, and good evening, friends. Myself, Gayathri, and my topic is humoral and cell-mediated immunity. As we all know, there is so many types of immune response in our body. In that, mainly two types of immune response is very important. That is, one is humoral immediate immunity response, and another one is cell-mediated immunity response. And humoral immunity response means it's a slight change. Sir, will you please change the slide?
Okay.
Yeah. So as I already said, there is two types of cell response, humoral and cell mediated. So when it comes to the humoral immunity response is mediated by the antibody molecules. So here the antibodies will respond to the antigen. So humoral immunity is named because it is present in the fluids, in our body fluids. The immunity response are present. And the next one is the cell mediated immunity. Here, the cell mediated immunity response will involve in the destruction of infected cells. So, here the cytotoxic T cells will destruct the infected, the whole cell only it will destroy. Here, antigen. So, before we clearly knowing about the humoral and cell mediated, first we know some of these things. The main common things happens in the both the response. One is antigen. Here the antigen is it is in the different form. Antigen, we know the antigens may enter our body in the different modes, like different modes of entry, like the bacteria, virus, so like that. Either it may be in the part pathogen or in the whole pathogen. So if it is a part of pathogen means it may be a cell membrane or the part of the flagella, like that. So if the antigen is a whole pathogen, what case will means what happens if the antigen enters our body in a whole pathogen? So antigen will going to engulfed by the macrophage, and that macrophage will become antigen presenting cell. So this macrophage, when the macrophage engulf the antigen, they like a bacteria, anything, it will break down the bacteria into a fragments. So the macrophage will break down into small fragments. Either that may be a bacteria or any pathogen. So the whole pathogen, if enters to the body, that break down into small fragments. That any fragments that comes upon the surface of the macrophage, when it presents surface of the macrophage, it activates the helper T cells. These helper T cells will activate the B cells. So by the process of by producing cytokinosis, it will activate the B cells. These B cells will activate the plasma cell. This plasma cells is main responsible for to produce antibody. This antibody will attack the antigen and it will destroy the antigen. So there is another thing, free antigens. What do you mean by free antigen means? See that as I already said, the pathogen may enter either whole or by the part. So if it is in the part or if it is present in the body fluids, we call that as a humoral immune response. If it is present inside the cell, we call that as a cell-mediated immune response. So if it is present in the free antigen, means the part of the pathogen like a cell membrane or the part of the flagella, like that, if any antigen, if it is present in the fluid, that will activate the B cells. B cell will activate the plasma cells. So as I already said, the plasma cells will produce the antibody. So here, the main one thing is the the plasma cells will produce the specific antibody for the specific antigens. So this is about the humoral immune response. And the next, the cell mediated, how the cell mediated response will work means the same process. The four steps are same. If it is enter as the whole, antigen will engulf by the macrophage, and same the T helper cells will activate. This T helper cells, the helper T cells will produce the cytokinosis. This cytokinosis T cells will become active, so that we call activated cytotoxic T cells. This toxic T cells will kill the whole cell. Means, for example, in any antigen are present inside the cell means that will attacked by their we will get that cell will become some changes like a cell membrane. The what is the cell membrane is there, that will become some certain changes in the components, rearrangement like that and all it will undergo. So when the cell is become little changes, that time this cytotoxic T cells will get to know. So when the cytotoxic T cells will get to know that something change is going on, that time this cytotoxic T cells will get activated. When the cytotoxic T cell is activated, it go and it will kill the whole cell. So it will kill where the pathogen is present inside the cell, that whole cell will killed by the this cytotoxic T cells. Like this, the cell mediated immune response will work. So we got to know about the humoral immune response and how the cell mediated immune response will work. So here the main thing we have to understand is the humoral immune response will takes place in the extracellular fluids. The cell mediated immune response will takes place inside the normal cell, inside the normal cell. So the major difference between the humoral and cell mediated immunity is the humoral immunity produces antigen specific for the specific antigen. Specific antibodies will produce, whereas cell mediated immunity does not produce any antibodies, but the cytotoxic T cells will kill the whole infected cell. So this is about the humoral and the cell mediated immune response. Thank you.
Thank you for your presentation. The topic is open for discussion. If there are no doubts, then I will request Hemant to present this topic.